Now at 6 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, new details in a standoff in Cuero last night. We'll go over the charges the man now faces.
A former student at Baylor accusing the university of neglect after a sexual assault case, what the doctor testified, and more.
And a new school said to be constructed on top of former prison graves. We have what community members have to say.
Well, the sun's going down after a pretty sunny day. We're looking for a rather hot weekend, but don't despair. By the time we get to next week, it should feel more like October, and we'll have all that coming up.
And the athlete of the week showed out in front of a Texas Longhorn for their first district victory. That and more in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia. Yesterday, the Cuero Police Department responded to the 100 block of Alamo Circle around 4:30 p.m. The person who made the call said earlier in the day a heated dispute involving a firearm occurred. It was later determined 61-year-old Franklin Fisher of Cuero was the person in distress and was described as suicidal. Following the investigation, it was discovered a firearm was discharged, leading to the arrest of Fisher. Fisher now charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Now, if you or a loved one is experiencing thoughts of suicide, please reach out to the 24/7 Crisis Lifeline at 988.
The Wharton County Sheriff's Office is trying to find out why a Wharton man died inside an intentionally set vehicle fire on County Road 142 Monday afternoon. Authorities tell the Ocampo Leader News it's too early to say, adding the body of Basir Shanhani, reportedly of Wharton, has been transported to the Fort Bend County Medical Examiner's Office for autopsy. Hallettsville police arrested 32-year-old Leonard Rodriguez of Big Wells after a high-speed chase. Authorities tell us Rodriguez was traveling towards Hallettsville at speeds of around 100 miles an hour. The driver came to a stop on the 100 block of East 4th Street. Rodriguez, charged with evading arrest in a motor vehicle, is in the Lavaca County Jail in lieu of $20,000 bond.
The EPA is hosting a public meeting in Port Lavaca from 6 to 8 p.m. next Tuesday, October 24th at the Bauer Community Center. There will be an update on activities at the Lavaca Bay Superfund site. The meeting concerns the red mud lakes near Cox Creek on the eastern side of Lavaca Bay. The EPA is considering additional sampling for mercury in the area that may be making its way to the Cox Creek and onto Lavaca Bay. And now let's take a look at your forecast with Chief Meteorologist Mac Bettis, who tells us it's going to be a chilly weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Oh,
wait, no, sorry, you said hot weekend, didn't you? Yeah. I was bummed, that's right. You're thinking of Halloween. Halloween's supposed to be chill.
Yes, I can do that one. Yeah.
I've got a hot weekend, but don't determine your Halloween costume based on this weekend, because I expect cooler weather to arrive by then, and we'll certainly have all that coming up. It's 86 degrees right about now. We've managed to get up to 89, and even though it's closer to our seasonal average, it's just for the weekend. Next week, things are going to be looking a lot better with rain, a real possibility for us. We'll have all that coming up in a minute. Back to you.
Mac, thank you. Early voting in the state's constitutional amendment election starts next Monday. Proposition 1 would add farming and ranching practices to the Texas Bill of Rights. The proposition asks voters to add the right to engage in farming, ranching, timber production, horticulture, and wildlife management to Article 1 of the Texas Constitution. Election Day is Tuesday, November 7th.
Here's your viewer poll. You can scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. The question is, how do you plan to vote on Texas Proposition 1? Are you for it or against it? According to these results, it's looking like 46% are for it and 54% stand against it.
Which is kind of surprising considering there are many farmers
in the Crossroads area.
Absolutely, yeah, close vote.
Looking forward to that 10 o'clock vote. We want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we're going to have an update on 25 News now at 10.
Former Trump loyalist Sidney Powell has pleaded guilty in the Georgia elections case. Fulton County prosecutors recommending she get 6 years probation. In return, Powell, who began her law career in Texas, has to testify in future trials, perhaps including the former president's. She also has to write an apology letter to Georgia voters. Powell is admitting she had a role in breaching election systems in a rural Georgia county in 2021. A Fort Bend County school could be built on former prison graves.
The school is actually set to be built by 2026 on the former site of the Harlem Prison Farm.
Nobody would believe him.
Marilyn Moore says her late husband, Reginald, dedicated his life to uncovering the truth about convict leasing and prison farms.
Convict leasing is where prisoners were leased to landowners to work agricultural work. In this particular case, sugarcane fields.
She's referring to this plot of land along Harlem Road in Richmond, once known as the Harlem Prison Farm.
It was an agreement with the state of Texas and local landowners here because slavery was over and they needed someone to take care of the sugarcane crops.
Like the Sugarland 95 discovery 5 years ago, it's believed by some activists the land also was a burial site for those imprisoned. The land was bought by the Fort Bend Independent School District in June.
The news announcement for this school contained no information that this school was located on a prison farm or that it was located also near a cemetery that we don't know where it is.
We reached out to the district, who responded saying the developers have done an archaeological survey of the area, including digging. A spokesperson also said, though it appears unlikely, if remains are discovered, they will be handled with the utmost dignity and respect, including memorialization.
It's very scary to think what else might be happening related to some of these land purchases.
Testimony continued in a Title IX lawsuit against Baylor University this week. Former student Dolores Laranzo is accusing former Baylor running back Devin Chaffin of domestic abuse. A doctor testified that Dolores was pregnant with Chaffin's child, who then began kicking Dolores in the stomach. The lawsuit is alleging Baylor didn't do enough to stop it or investigate the alleged assault properly. Dolores is part of a lawsuit filed in 2016 accusing the university of neglect after she and 15 other women were sexually assaulted by football players. Most of the women have settled in court since then. 5 of the 6 students and a bus driver who were hospitalized after a crash involving a school bus and an 18-wheeler Wednesday in San Antonio have been released. KSAT reports there is one victim who is still recovering in the hospital, but district officials said the middle school student was in stable condition. 20 middle school students were on the bus when it was hit by an 18-wheeler. Authorities said the trailer ran a red light before it struck the bus.
Texas House Democrats introduced what they called a transformative school finance plan in the state legislature special session today. The bill would give Texas teachers a $15,000 pay raise as well as a $5,500 bonus to support staff members. The proposal would change the formula for education funding to be based on enrollment rather than attendance. The Democrats remain against legislation that would tie an increase for public school funding to school vouchers. Texas is set to receive millions of dollars in funding toward expanding its power grid. The Biden administration announced 4 projects are slated for Texas. Among the projects in Texas are San Antonio utility CPS Energy's $32 million planned construction of microgrids based around solar and battery energy. Xcel Energy, which has power plants, wind farms, and transmission lines in Texas, was awarded $142 million to strengthen its system against extreme weather and wildfire. Progress is being made in building the Salvation Army of Victoria's Life Enrichment Center. Construction started September 1st at the Salvation Army's home office, 1302 North Lewis Street. The center will be about 2,000 square feet. It will have a classroom that can hold 12 people at one time with computers in that classroom. There will be a library and study area in the Life Enrichment Center, as well as a medical room where people can get wound care, assessments, and referrals. There will be a computer station and a laundry facility. The Salvation Army of Victoria got a $250,000 grant from the City of Victoria for the Life Enrichment Center.
So exciting to finally see this happen. This was really the vision of our city manager, Jesus Garson. And this came about about 3 years ago this month. And so it's finally now coming to fruition, and we're very excited, very excited.
Captain Jones told us he believes the Life Enrichment Center could be open by mid-November.
TxDOT wants input on a long-range plan that will guide transportation priorities in Texas through the year 2050. TxDOT will host an open house 4:30 to 6 p.m. Wednesday, October 25th at the Victoria College Emerging Technology Complex, 7403 Lone Tree Road, Meeting Hall 101. Residents will have an opportunity to fill out a survey providing input on the plan. The survey asks residents to rate different types of transportation strategies in 6 categories.
Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. That way you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. An heroic bus driver saved a mother's son. The incident caught on camera. That's coming up on 25 News Now at 6.
Plus, College Station, one of the first cities to see Amazon's drone delivery service.
School bus driver in Dallas saved a 7-year-old boy who was choking on her bus.
Yeah, the bus driver and the little boy now recalling the scary incident.
Every morning at the bus stop,
hey, Preston.
Parents hand off their kids to the driver.
They're the next person that's going to be there to protect your kid.
On September 29th, that next person was Raquel Radford Baker.
They have to get to school and they have to get back. So my number one priority is safety.
The Dallas ISD team lead driver was covering the Seagoville route.
He was 3 seats behind this seat here. He was 3 seats behind and he came up straggling.
7-year-old Preston was goofing around when he put something in his mouth and choked.
The student came up to me. I thought he was sick, so he appeared to be throwing up. So I was like, hey, throw up, so I opened up the door to tell him to throw up outside. And when he turned back and looked at me, he was basically letting me know he couldn't breathe. I immediately got off the bus, picked him up, and ran down the stairs. On my way to the sidewalk, I was doing the Heimlich removal.
Raquel asked another parent to call 911.
Telling him, breathe, baby, breathe. I got you, I got you.
And out came 25 cents.
I choked on a quarter.
Preston promises he won't do it again.
And then Raquel saved my life.
Since that day, his mom, Giovanna Bell, has wanted to say thank you in person. It was their first time meeting.
Oh my God. Thank you so much. You never know what can happen to them once they get on that bus or whenever they leave your home. You don't know if they're going to be able to come back.
This mom is more than grateful.
All right, have a good day, boy.
It was Raquel who drove her son that morning. And each day she sees Raquel in the front seat. It is a feeling of comfort, handing the greatest love of her life to a woman she calls her hero.
These are my babies.
In Seagoville,
all of them.
I'm Tiffany Liu.
Amazon is planning to expand its drone delivery service. Right now, Prime Air is only available in Texas in College Station, but the company says it will expand to another state in 2024, along with locations in Europe. A College Station customer received the very first Amazon Prime Air prescription delivery Tuesday. Production for the first Cybertruck facilities has started in Austin, with Tesla expecting to deliver the first trucks in November. The Austin American-Statesman reports the Austin plant can produce more than 125,000 vehicles per year. The first Cybertruck deliveries are expected on November 30th. The company has not announced pricing for the vehicle.
Former President George W. Bush was spotted at Globe Life Stadium in Arlington last night. Mr. Bush, along with his wife, former First Lady Laura Bush, were in town for Game 3 of the American League Conference Series between the Texas Rangers and the Houston Astros. The former president owned part of the Rangers at one point before selling his shares several years back. The Rangers lead the series 2-1. Game 4 will be played tonight in Arlington.
Yeah, baseball, right? That's a big subject right about now. 86 right about now is also the temperature, and you're wondering, oh wait, why is it so warm? We got up to 89. That's because of the sun and the north wind. It's dry, but it's not cool. However, we're looking at the West Coast, and we'll talk more about that coming up in just a moment. Well, good evening, everybody. Sometime in the next few hours, you're going to start feeling a little bit more of a north wind blowing in. I don't know if you're feeling it yet, but that's actually the dry line that we were expecting. It's not much of anything, but it will give us some drier air. And with that dry air and the abundant sunshine that we're getting tomorrow, we should be looking at some pretty high temperatures. Meanwhile, over the next couple of days, we're going to be watching west. Yes, what is going on? Well, you see the clouds beginning to roll in as we go into Future Tracker. This takes us all the way to Saturday, and you can see by then we're probably going to see quite a bit of cloud cover over the area, not clear and blue. And then we're watching to see what happens with the remnants of that tropical storm. That's Norma coming ashore right about there. The remnants are going to spread out over the Sonoran Desert and then eventually get into Texas. This sets the stage for a pretty good chance for us getting some rainfall around here, some we haven't seen in a while. We are looking at overnight lows only in the 60s tonight, and tomorrow we'll get up way into the 90s, looking at 94, 92, things of that nature. So it's a sunny, warm weekend, but then over the course of the next 3 or 4 days, you're going to see even the rain chance start to move up into our region, with the heaviest activity right now expected to be somewhere in North Texas, but we are included in that activity. So that's the good news. Here's a look at Norma. Norma is coming up, going to hit Baja, then it rolls into the deserts, and then we look for the remnants to come into our area. Here's another view of it. Now we are here in the dry air above the activity, and then below us you can see all the moisture associated with the storm. So we're going to be watching and waiting to see if it gets into our region. Here's another view of it, and you can see how the frontal system does come through. High pressure does give us a pretty good looking Friday and Saturday. And then by the time we get to Sunday, Monday, we'll start watching to the west to see what happens. The remnants of the storm should be on shore. The other frontal system coming in from the west will also help to push it up and through our area. And then after that, things get very interesting. Smooth bays tomorrow morning, looking for a low of 7, rather a morning sun temperature of 7:30 a.m. And we're looking for a high of about 91 in the Port Lavaca area. In Cuero, we're getting up to about 93. And here's your 7-day. And here's the good stuff. We're looking dry and warm through Sunday. Then we pick up clouds, then a good chance for rain beginning on Tuesday, extending on into Thursday, maybe even Friday. And for Halloween, I'm thinking it's going to be much cooler. High temperatures, hopefully in the 60s. So let's wait for that one as well. That's your 7-day forecast. We've got a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Right about now, we'll toss it over to Karina.
Thank you, Mac. And now let's go to Sports Talk with Gina Perez.
Thanks, Karina. Game 4 of the ALCS is right around the corner. That's coming up after the break. Howdy Crossroads. The Athlete of the Week was a tough one to pick this past week because there were multiple athletes across the Crossroads who had monster games. We hear from the Beast running back from Hallettsville. Normally Friday the 13th means bad luck, superstitions, or can even be a bit scary. But the only thing that was scary on Friday night was how terrifying Jay-Sean Price was on the football field. The 150-pound running back had a big game, but he said he could not do it alone.
I have to give it to, the linemen and the receivers that were out there blocking, letting me, hit the outside and getting to the touchdown and end zone and just running fast.
Along with being named the Athlete of the Week, Price was named the Offensive and Scout Team Player of the Week by his team. First-year Brahma head football coach Levi Montgomery said Price has to be forced off the field at times because of his dedication.
Well, there's two things I'll say about this young man here. The first thing, and I tell him, and always have it, is pound for pound, he's a tough high school football player as you're going to find. Not only is he pound for pound the toughest guy, I think, in this area of Texas, but he's also a heck of a teammate and will jump in on the scout team and do everything he can to help his team win. He's a good dude. He's a good dude.
Friday the 13th was big for Price because he got to see a person he admires go on and do great things, as well as having a big game on the football field. That person is Texas running back Jonathan Brooks, who was in attendance to have his number retired for his success as a Brahma and Longhorn.
He's a great running back, and, I looked up to him, and, seeing him play and getting his job done when he was in high school, just, hometown hero.
Price showed out in front of the Brahma Proud that were repping maroon and orange alike, which you only see during rivalry games at UT. But the 5'8" senior did his job effectively, scoring 4 touchdowns and totaling 98 yards on only 6 carries. On defense, he had 1 sack and 2 QB hurries on his way to becoming the Athlete of the Week. In the Astros, Game 3 was some good all-around baseball from the Astros. Yordan Alvarez played a big role in the win, scoring multiple runs. And Altuve also had a nice night with a bomb to extend the lead. The Rangers, on the other hand, had some concerns on the mound with Max Scherzer getting rattled last night. Globe Life Field will be open tonight, and the Astros right-handed pitcher Jose Urquidy and Rangers left-hander Andrew Heaney will take the bump. Game 4 once again will be at 7:03. Will the Astros have a 2-game series and tie the game up at 2, or will the Rangers take a commanding 3-1 lead? We will find out tonight at 10. Well, that's your sports. Donna Karina, back to you.
Thanks, Gina. We're back in a moment. Residents in Maine show off their creative scarecrows, hoping to help tell the stories of the town's past.
Residents of a famous city in Maine have a new way to pay for their historical society, a scarecrow contest. Participants are asked to create a scarecrow that shows the town's history. Each vote will cost a $1 donation to the society. There's a mermaid scarecrow along with her sailor. There is one, seems to be just a skeleton. By the way, the sailor is named Kenny Bunkport. Anyway, that's an impact. Then there's a let's see, there's a skeleton of a scarecrow, And then there's a scarecrow telling a big fish tale.
Yeah.
And then the final entry, there's the big fish tale. And then the final entry, a pirate scarecrow. Mateys.
Oh, okay.
They're in kind of, there he is.
Interesting.
Shiver me timbers.
And what did they all have in common as scarecrows? They needed
They don't need a brain.
That's right.
That's right, yes.
Wizard of Oz reference here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that society needed some funding, so they went with the scarecrows.
And they got the brain.
and I think of Halloween and scarecrows and pumpkins. I don't think of 90-degree temperatures. I'm sorry, I really
Yeah,
don't.
you lost
I
me
know.
there, Mac.
I don't want you to plan your costume based on this weekend, okay? This weekend's going to be hot. We're looking for temperatures about 92, 91, so it's just going to be warm. I do believe that the rain will be arriving middle of next week. And then after that, we start actually cooling down. We're already looking at the 26th here. By the time we get to the 31st, we should be looking at temperatures in the 60s as high temperatures. So cooler, I mean, not exactly bone-chilling cold. Ooh, bone-rattling cold. But it will be a ghost for goblins.
All right, that was good, Nick. Thanks. All right, thank you for joining us.
We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 10.